Can you share the elephant walks and the dogs bark? How to overcome the fear of judgments. Here the judgments being the dog barking. So this story is of, in India it's a famous story, but it is born out of observation, right? I grew up in Lakshman Jhula, and there at that time was very different, situation. And there was still there is the national forest. And so there would be leopards, very common, on Lakshman Jhula street, in front of my house. Often I would be walking back in the evening and you would see elephant. And we used to see now on the road to Satwa a lot, but even now that's rarer. In the last couple of years become rarer. So, whenever the elephant would come, they would come from the forest, and their intention was always to make way to the Ganga. And whenever the elephant would come, the dogs will go crazy, right? And the most interesting thing was the elephant wouldn't bother at all, right? It would just keep walking. And as the elephant walked through the village, the dogs would go crazy, barking, but at all times maintaining safe distance. And the elephant wouldn't bother at all. It would just keep walking unless a dog really came close, and then it would swing the trunk and the dog would run away, and the elephant just kept on walking to the Ganga and then roll around in the water, and often would float down then and then come out a little bit down with their trunks, above the water. And so, the rishis and the yogis say that the elephant walks and the dogs bark, and if the elephant starts to stop for every dog that is barking, it will never get to the water. It doesn't matter which elephant it is. It's not personal to the elephant, and it is not personal to the dog. It's just something that happens in nature. When elephant walks through a colony of dogs, dogs bark. It's not personal to the dog or to the elephant. It's just what happens, right? And that is an important thing about the judgment, right? What was the question? How to overcome the fear of judgment. That when you become visible, irrespective of who you are, there will be judgment, right? Just like any elephant that walks through the village, and any dog, unless he has been really trained, which doesn't happen in India. Any elephant walking, any dog present, natural law, dogs bark, elephant walks. And this is a very important realization for us to have, because when you really, if we were speaking about the Dharma yesterday, and let's say that the nature calls you to play a role where you have to step up and be more visible. And that's the role now spirit, cosmos, nature, existence needs you to play, where you have to be more visible, you have to put yourself in front of people, you have to step up as a leader or as an artist or a creative, even writing a book, anything you do or teach, there will be judgment, right? And there is nothing personal about it. And so you cannot overcome the fear of judgment, because there is really nothing to overcome there. It's just what is. And what you have to do is not overcome the fear of judgment, but refine your understanding that the judgment has nothing to do with your sense of self. It has nothing to do with it. So you're not wasting your time in trying to overcome the fear, but rather using your energy to get greater sanity within yourself. If you look at any individual in the world who has played any role, that's what nature has pulled them up and asked them to play any role, the greater visibility you have, the greater will be the judgment. Nobody is judging the person who nobody knows. For you to judge someone, you have to have at least some iota of thinking that you know that person. You actually don't know, because if you truly know, you cannot judge. True knowing births appreciation of someone's humanity, someone's depth, their own struggle, their own sensitivity. To truly know someone is actually the end of judgment. But this illusion of knowing is what breeds judgment. And that judgment is ultimately a state of angst within the one who is judging. But you cannot have a world where there is no judgment. It will be. And so there cannot, just like there cannot be a village when the elephant walks and the dogs don't bark. That's just what happens. And your job has to just keep walking. And the dogs can keep barking. And you have to have a clear focus. And you can only have that focus when you are fulfilling the Dharma. The first two Dharma, you have enough energy, you have enough personal culture. And you are not in denial of the judgment. You have integrity within your own heart. That's why in our tradition we have such emphasis on having mentors, teachers, where you get feedback. It is important, and we don't become some kind of self-obsessed, self-righteous being that I'm always right. I was talking about the second aspect of the Dharma, that we need to always be open. Instead of trying to be right, we want to be wise. But you cannot get wisdom from dogs barking. And so we must not confuse feedback as judgment. But we have to really locate where are we open to feedback, because you cannot take feedback from everyone. Even if you, let's say, write a book and you publish it, please don't read all the reviews. Especially these days, a lot of people who have nothing else to do but to spew hate. They've decided that they're going to organize their life around hatred. And that's the whole mentality. So you have to have a clear sense where we go and get correction, because we all need mentors and teachers, and where you can be in a receptive state and learn. And that's feedback. That's how we learn. But that feedback happens in the clearing where there is love. But the judgment happens in a place where there is no love. There is only hatred. And that brings nothing good in the world. Judgment only exists in the absence of love. Feedback exists in the clearing where there is love. In the clearing of love, when there is feedback, there is growth. That's how we learn. And it's very essential that we have places, people in our lives where we sit and listen and where we get feedback. That's why our tradition of, my master Maharaji always said that there is no ultimate guru, there is only students. It's not a golden chain of teachers, it's a golden chain of students.